appeared to have survived time change here in the United States. It is now daylight time. So seems like it's it's earlier than it is. I guess it's later than you think if you think it's earlier than it really is. I'm not sure. Alrighty. Good morning. Getting some strange latency going on here. So we'll see how this turns out. Okay, Sunday morning spread. A little bit of coffee, obviously not enough so far this morning. And wanted to talk just a little bit before we get into the spread about the Celtic Cross and sort of where that came from and what it is and how we use it and that sort of thing. This is one of the older spreads that is still in use. 1911 is the first time that anything was actually published about it, and this was in Waite's book, The Pictorial Key to the Tarot. And from what we can tell, people were using card spreads in the shape of crosses in Europe for quite some time before that. Waite presented this as something ancient. He spoke about it being an ancient Celtic means of divination or something along those lines. But a lot of times it seems like in those days especially, and I guess even now, people want to portray things as having some sort of ancient roots. Somehow ancient people knew things that we don't know now, and so it has more authority if it comes from somewhere else. This is like the lore about the tarot coming from, an ancient Egyptian sect or something like that. And so far as we know, that is not, at least there's no real historical evidence for any of that, but people still say it sometimes. And the same with this. Who knows whether or not a spread like this, card spread like this, was used sort of in the pan-Celtic culture or not. But Waite said that it was, so who am I to argue with him? Anyway, this spread, what I like about it, beyond the lore and all of that, is that it gives us a lot of different ways of looking at a situation or a question. And if you use the approach that I tend to use with these cards, which is you've got a question or an issue or an aspect of something, and then the card is a random stimulus that on the surface should have nothing to do with that aspect or that question or that issue, then it gets your brain working in a way that it's not going to work at if you were to sit down and make a list and approach things very rationally. And this is the way that Vincent Petici explains how the cards work in general. It's something called conceptual blending, where you take a question or an issue and you add a random stimulus that has nothing to do with it, and then see where that takes you. It's a creative thinking technique. And so the Celtic Cross is great for that because it's got so many positions, so many aspects. If you look at the positions on the cross, it comes at things from every angle that you can imagine. And so it's a very powerful tool for problem solving or creativity, counseling, that kind of stuff. It's just very cool, apart from all of the lore and kind of maybe in some cases baggage that comes with it. I'll be writing a blog post about this sometime this week. I didn't get it done ahead of time, but since we've got St. Patrick's Day coming up, I thought it would kind of be fun to just talk for a moment about the cross this morning. And there's, of course, over the years, lots of different ways that people uh, use this card spread, lots of different uh, sort of ideas that they've assigned to the different positions of the spread and all of that. And I'll try and cover some of that in the blog post as well. I would love to hear from other readers how you use the Celtic Cross if you do, or why you don't if you don't. Uh, Also, any questions about either the Celtic Cross or the spread we're going to use today, which is a 4-card spread, or about the tarot or anything, I would welcome those in comments anywhere, Facebook, YouTube, blog, whatever. So let's turn the camera to the table, and we'll do a little 4-card here for our Sunday morning spread. Let's take just a moment to get our minds quiet before we start. Okay, on a day like today, we need to get our minds quiet first, especially after all that rattling on that I did. Let's cut the cards. We will do a card for each of the dimensions of life. So this would be the physical material, and we've got the Hierophant. Social emotional, we have the 9 of Pentacles. Mental, we have the Knight of Pentacles. And spiritual, we have the 8 of Cups. Okay. So 1 Major, 2 Pentacles, and a Cups card this morning. Here is how I would read these, just off the top of my head here. So the Hierophant or Hierophant is the card of authority, the card of discipleship. We have these acolytes before the high priest here. We have the pillars alongside. So this card is about broader societal authority in our lives, or discipleship to that. It can also represent formal studies or learning. So schools, churches, societal institutions, the way that we, beyond our families, are acculturated and educated and taught. And so in the physical realm, so this would be things physical, financial, material. I think that that is a call for maybe approaching things in a more structured, disciplined way, where you are getting information on how to proceed from an authority of some sort. So if we're talking about physical training or health, maybe that is engaging a personal trainer. Maybe it is making a doctor's appointment. Maybe it is studying, if you're working on things, whether it be physical or financial, studying some authoritative sources, before proceeding. It might be the tax season is coming up in the United States before long. This might mean consulting an actual tax accountant in the financial side of things. So in general, I think this is showing a need for authority and discipleship of some sort, learning of some sort in the physical and material realm in the week to come. Okay, over here in the social and emotional, we've got the Nine of Pentacles, and this is a card of accomplishment. The character on this card, obviously, opulence, her clothing, her surroundings. She's in this, what looks like a vineyard, presumably her family estate. She's trained this falcon, because obviously it's sitting there right where it ought to on her glove. She seems very comfortable in that situation. I think of nines as approaching completion or attainment. So this is a person of great accomplishment. Pentacles, again, are the suit of the material and physical. So in the emotional realm of our lives, in the emotional dimension or the social dimension, I think this is maybe a cue to take a look at and to appreciate how accomplished we are, and to take a sense of confidence into the week to come that results from that level of accomplishment. So let's take a look at the things in our life that we've been able to accomplish and to bring about. Maybe the accomplishments of the past week, and use those as a boost to confidence, both in our own emotional landscape and in our relationships with others in the week to come. And again, we've got this theme of discipline here and training with the falcon. So there may be something going on there as well. I would love, as always, to hear from other readers how you would read these cards in these positions. Okay, up in the mental realm, Knight of Pentacles. This card, Knights are the cards of action, and Pentacles, again, the suit of the physical and material. This card for me represents slow, inevitable growth, like an oak tree growing. That it, you plant a seed and it inevitably grows into what was the potential of that seed to begin with. But this knight isn't in a hurry like the other knights in the deck are sort of charging forward. This one seems to be intentional, and I think that this card keeps coming up in this position. It may have even come up last Sunday, I'm not sure, but I know I've seen it recently in this particular spread. And so I think it is a call again to be careful what we plant in our minds. Be careful where we direct our attention and our thoughts. Plant good seeds this week. This could be through some sort of daily devotional activity. It could be through something that we're reading. It could be through something that we're avoiding. So rather than watching trash on YouTube or television, or engaging in senseless rehash sorts of arguments or moments of high tension on social media, let's go off somewhere with a book, at least a little bit of time every day, to try to develop our minds and plant the right seeds. So that's how I would read that card in the mental dimension. And up here in the spiritual dimension, then, we've got the Eight of Cups. And this card for me is, it sort of represents recovery. This character, which looks similar to the Hermit, is almost emerging from the cups. So there's something here that needs to be maybe left behind that we have to turn our backs on in order to progress. Cups are the suit of the heart and of emotions and social interactions and that sort of thing, but mostly of the heart, of the things that are just inside us and we feel very deeply. And so in that context, he's got his back turned to a lot of neatly stacked up emotional stuff here. So this may be emotional habits or preoccupations of attention that we have had for a long time in our lives. And maybe some of us are getting to the point where we need to just walk away from some of that and start fresh in order to progress in our lives and to progress spiritually. Yeah, so I think that's the way that I would read these. So call for some sort of discipline and authority down here, and also an appreciation of what we have accomplished so far in our lives. Be careful about our thoughts and where we place our attention this week, and maybe look at things in our lives that are not serving us anymore, that we need to just move beyond now and not be afraid to kind of let go of. So an interesting spread for a Sunday morning here. I hope that this finds you all well and happy and safe wherever you are. We're about a year on with this pandemic stuff now, huh? It is crazy. Starting to turn to spring here in Illinois where I live, although also they're predicting some snow in our area for tomorrow, like 1 to 3 inches I saw in the forecast. I don't know if that's still the forecast now or not, but it has been an interesting 2021 so far. I'd love to hear from you. If you've got comments, you can leave them here with the video, or pop on over to the website. brightblessingstarot.com, I think, is the address for that. I would love to hear from you. Comment on my personal Facebook as well if you'd like, and stay safe and healthy this week, and we'll see you before long.